Hello, Newt.
Hey, Tony. What's going on here?
Oh, you might have noticed the eye patch. Don't know if you noticed, but if you have, I've been doing updates. I mean, reviews for horror movies, which are actually updates on my eye. So remember my famous, when I cut my right eye?
Yeah.
It turns out it didn't heal because I have a condition where my cornea erodes, and the only way to fix it is to cut it differently so it heals differently, because it can't heal on its own. So I didn't cut myself this time on the left eye, it just happened. So they took a razor and shaved parts of my eye off. And it's very blurry, and I have bad motion sickness, and I had to work instead of taking time off to recover. So I kept almost throwing up. So I'm wearing an eye patch so I can talk to you without getting nauseous.
I thought you were cosplaying as the dude from Dawn of the Dead, like we were talking about earlier. Put a picture up of that guy next to you, and it's like, oh, you're the dude from Dawn of the Dead. Like,
we're down to the line.
Dummies!
Dummies!
It's been a hard year for you, hasn't it?
It's been a hard year. But Christmas has come and gone.
It sure has.
It was a great Christmas. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. We watched Dark Knight Rises together.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Everything is going well right now. You know, Operation Warp Speed, I'm sure that's doing really, really well at the moment this airs.
It's sped up.
Yes.
Like its name said.
Yes. And everything's great. And Christmas was great. And this is not being filmed a week before.
Nope.
Anyway, speaking of Christmas.
Sure.
Let's talk about Trancers.
Yeah, let's talk about Trancers.
I know it's a few days after Christmas, but I didn't know this movie existed.
Really?
Have you seen this before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I did not know this existed. Mm-hmm. So on Amazon Prime, there's Elvira's 13 Nights of Horror.
Yes.
And I was watching it. It finally dawned on me that they're all Charles Band Full Moon pictures.
Back when he still did good stuff.
Yeah. So, Ginger Dead Band's one of the episodes. But anyway.
My friend was a puppeteer on that.
So I'm watching Elvira's 13 Nights of Horror. My girlfriend puts it on sometimes.
Yeah.
She puts it on the one day, and it's something called Trancers. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is a Blade Runner ripoff. And then I left the room for like 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I come back, and I see him in an 80s mall with Helen Hunt fighting Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on.
What movie is this? What is happening?
Like, did you put another movie on?
Yeah.
So I watched it, kind of like half watched it, and then I texted you right away and said, we're doing Trancers.
Oh, yeah. Yup. Yeah. No, I knew this movie when I was a kid because it was Paul DeMeo and I forget the other dude's name. Paul DeMeo and Danny Bilson.
Okay.
They created the 1990 Flash TV show,
right?
Which I loved. If you're a fan of the CW show, like, you know,
they killed the 90s Flash.
Yes, they
multiple
did.
times, but they killed the actual 90s Flash.
Oh, really?
He died in the Crisis event.
Okay.
He died much like the Flash in the comics, where he died sacrificing himself.
Oh, or like in Crisis. Okay,
yes,
all right,
yes.
yeah.
So the 90s Flash is dead.
All right.
He's dead, and he's never coming back.
Ever. Good for John Wesley Shipp to keep that, like... He put a pin in his career, and then they came back around to him, you know?
Yeah.
So they wrote that. One of them wrote The Rocketeer, which is a movie I absolutely fucking love.
I need to rewatch it. I've been meaning to rewatch that.
The dude who wrote The Rocketeer also, like, helped develop The Sims.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I was just like, what?
That's one connection. If you would have told me, I would have been like, what?
Yeah, so I was looking them up the other night when we were doing our notes, and I knew a lot of this stuff, and I was like... Oh, yeah, they did do... Because they were comic book writers, you know, American Flag and stuff like that. Yeah. So I knew about this movie. Yeah. It was definitely something I rented when I was a kid because I was obsessed with...
And I'd seen other Charles Band... And Charles Band directed this one specifically. I know he doesn't direct all of them, but, like... I grew up with other Charles, like the Puppet Master movie.
The Ghoulies.
Subspecies?
Well, that's New Moon. Well, this was Empire.
Well, he like produced it or something. He had something to do with Subspecies, I think.
Yeah, it was one of the producers on it. Yeah.
Right. I don't mean like him directing.
No, but like his company was Empire. Like, go back and watch the AVGN episode of the two Atari horror games.
Right.
They were both gonna be. That was his company reaching out into doing horror video games.
Right.
So, because Terror Vision is one of my favorite movies, and we need to do Terror Vision because it's fucking awesome. But yeah, so I'd seen this before, and when you said to do it, I was like, I haven't seen it in like Probably 30 years.
Yeah, so you watch it on Prime with Elvira, or you can watch
Regular.
it on Tubi.
Yeah.
On Tubi. So this is...
You know what else is on Tubi?
What?
Swamp Zombies 2.
Oh!
A little movie that I wrote and produced and acted in, and Crystal's in her underwear for any of our simp fans.
Yes. Hopefully YouTube hasn't banned that by the time this airs, like Twitch banned that term.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Simpsons.
You know what else is on Amazon Prime? Bugs vs. Dinosaurs.
Oh, wow. Now I don't feel as good about myself.
One day we're going to review each other's movies.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Trancers is Blade Runner meets Terminator meets Back to the Future.
Meets Quantum Leap.
Meets Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
Kinda. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did Quantum Leap come out before this?
Quantum Leap was like 87, 88 maybe.
Man, did everything rip off Trancers? Okay.
We watched it and I had to keep looking up, well, when did that movie come out? I'm like, oh, Trancers did it first.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I want to mention, John Buechler did the effects.
Yep.
I am shocked seeing like Charles Band, John Buechler. I'm shocked there wasn't a little rubber monster in this movie.
I know, there should have been.
I was like waiting. I'm like, where's the little rubber monster or the stop motion?
Yeah.
Where's the stop motion? The movie starts off in the future. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot like Blade Runner.
The narration.
Yes. Yes. Well,
the score.
If you've watched the theatrical cut of Blade Runner, there was narration.
I hate the narration.
That's a different topic. We already covered it in rental reviews.
What's rental reviews?
Don't worry about it. It's canceled. Not the bad canceled.
Oh, okay. I was worried for a second there.
Justin Silverman just said too many things. No. So it opens up like Blade Runner, and they got a cool future diner.
Yeah.
And a cop shows up in his future car. Mm-hmm. And you can tell he's the cop because he's dressed exactly like Harrison Ford.
Exactly. Yep. The fucking coat and everything.
And he goes in to the futuristic 50s space diner, which means George Lucas watched this movie.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And put it in his terrible Attack of the Clone. Oh, I'm sorry. Newt. It's 2020. We have to pretend we like the prequels now.
Oh, right. Yes.
Right. So, just to be clear, we're very excited that Hayden Christensen, the actor everyone hated and thought played Anakin horribly, even though he's okay in other movies, we have to now be excited for him to come back because the prequels are good now.
How often do I ask you, like, I don't understand Twitter and culture anymore, and I don't feel the need to be part of it?
You see, Disney made bad Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So that means the other bad Star Wars movies are now good. Are you not getting it? For example, you know how like everyone hated that the clones and Boba Fett were clones of one guy, and everyone hates the clone Boba Fett thing, kind of ruined Boba Fett. Well, now he's back in that shitty show. I mean, that really great show.
Oh, The Mandalorian?
Yeah, he's back, and he's the horrible clone one that no one likes.
Social media tells me that show's amazing.
Yes, but now we like that he's the horrible clone that no one liked and thought ruined the character. Now we like it.
Oh, okay.
So
I think I'm getting it. We're getting a little off topic.
Yes, we are getting off topic. I just want to, because I said something bad about Attack of the Clones.
Oh, you should be careful.
I forgot. The prequels are good now. For some reason. So anyway, they go into the...
Why do you hate sand?
They go into the futuristic diner.
Yes.
And he's like... by the way, I guess law enforcement hasn't really improved much in the future. So the guy's like, I'm questioning you. He's like, where's your warrant? He puts his gun in his face.
Yeah.
Like, my warrant's right here. I'm like, oh, shit. We haven't... That's still a problem? Oh, okay.
And especially in this Los Angeles that has its own problems. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you find out that the lady in the diner is a trancer.
The waitress is a trancer, yeah.
And a trancer is someone that this guy named Whistler can mind control.
Yeah.
Is it just Whistler who can do it?
I think he's the leader of the cult, so yeah.
Okay. By the way, there are 5 sequels to this that I have not seen.
They give us so many things to watch.
So many things. So yeah, the trancer attacks him, and I like where he's like, she's a trancer, help me, and the guy's like, she's just an old lady, and then leaves. And I like in the future, instead of just whipping out a phone and calling the cops, you have to run across the street to a pole and pull a lever that shoots a blue beam in the air, much like the Avengers had the blue beam in the air And Hellboy had the beam in the air.
Suicide Squad had the beam in the air.
Yes, and Fantastic Four had a beam in the air. Man of Steel changed it. They put the beam on the ground. But anyway, this is another thing.
That was terraforming.
That's true. Anyway, there's this blue beam in the air. Battleship.
Yeah.
Blue beam in the air.
Holy shit.
And he's fighting the Trancer. And so when they get tranced, they look like zombies. Mm-hmm. And then when you kill them, they get singed.
Yeah.
This movie has its own lingo, which I kind of appreciate.
Yeah, because and what I liked about it is it doesn't bother worrying about if the viewer gets it.
Yeah.
It's its own lived-in world.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
It's very, I know, okay, so cyberpunk is a genre.
Mm-hmm.
And it was based off, like, books and short stories. It's not just a video game you guys are bitching about right now. Cyberpunk was, like, a thing. Anyway,
it feels the game where I can make my wiener smaller because I'm worried that it's too big, and I don't want to scare anybody.
Yes, but you can't make your boobs too big.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So yeah, it feels, because I in college I took a sci-fi course and I read like some cyberpunk stuff. So it feels like that, where like they're throwing out lingo and you got to like kind of figure out what it means. Sometimes they explain it, sometimes they don't. So it feels like this very lived-in world, but you don't really see the rest of the world.
No.
You see this really cool diner
and the cool map painting.
There is a good map painting coming up, and I want to say the diner scene reminds me of Arkham Knight. The beginning of Arkham Knight starts off in a diner, and the Scarecrow attacks people, and it's like a cop goes over to someone like, hello, and everyone starts freaking out. So they are like, hey, Jack Deth.
Jack Deth is a fucking awesome name.
Yes.
And it's the Doll Man himself.
Yeah.
And he was also Jay Allen in the pilot to the 1990 Flash show.
Oh, okay. Yep. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Jack Deth.
Yeah.
They were like, Jack, you gotta come in. We're doing something. You're under orders. He's like, no, and he throws his badge.
And the guy who played his boss is the dude who played Babe Ruth.
Art LaFleur.
Yeah, he played Babe Ruth in the Sandlot.
Yeah. So he throws his badge, and then you get like the thing where it's like, he was a good cop. So his transfer killed his wife.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, okay, all right. Yeah. But it feels like one of those noir films.
Yeah. Yeah, like Angels with Filthy Souls.
Exactly.
So then we get a really good, for this kind of movie, really good match shot of Los Angeles.
Angeles was
Los
great.
Angeles is gated off. Mm-hmm. The big quake happened, and here's the thing, we're probably going to mention this in many other movies. I've mentioned it before in other things. Everyone misunderstands the earthquake San Andreas thing. Mm-hmm. So everyone, like the Superman movie, Escape from L.A., they all think
San Andreas, where The Rock jumps an earthquake with a jet ski.
Yes. I don't know if that one fucked up the spit. I mean, that has its own issues. Yeah. But people had this idea that the San Andreas fault would quake and LA would break off. Yeah. But that's not how it worked. Because they're actually pushing together. Mm-hmm. So at some point, I did a whole thing on this in college too. At some point, LA is going to go up further on the coast. Like, they're moving like this. Yeah. But movies make it seem like they're moving like that. So this is what
because that's easier for people to understand.
I get it. It sets up for like a cool setting, but it's not accurate.
And I'm pretty sure they filmed that where they filmed the ending of Planet of the Apes. It looked like the same rock, it did look like that, where the Statue of Liberty was.
And so in his spare time, and this is good character building, because he has a hobby.
Yeah.
That's a good way to build a character so they're not super want to give him a hobby.
Yeah.
He likes to go deep sea diving in Los Angeles, and he comes up with the Sunset Boulevard.
But he's dressed like he's a member of Team Rocket, like his jumpsuit, but with the helmets that you and I wore in the Spaceman thing.
Oh, yeah, which hasn't come out yet, but yeah.
One day it'll come out.
So his partner comes back. He's like, I have military guards now, so you have to come back.
And they're all dressed like the Victory Tour Michael Jackson, they've got like the things on.
You know what they kind of look like? They kind of look like the 90s Judge Dredd when he's not wearing the eagle. Little bit, when he's just like, they kind of look like the they look sort of like the judges in that. So we find out that Whistler, which I think is a stupid name.
Yeah.
He found a way to transfer his consciousness
down the line
to a previous ancestor. Mm-hmm. And that was like this movie's version of time travel, kind of.
Yeah.
So the threat is he's gone back in time to kill the ancestors of the people
who put him in jail or wherever he was.
Yeah, so it's very Terminator.
But they hid his body in the desert.
Yeah, they
and
found his body in the
I'm like, wait, why wasn't it like guarded better? Like, what if an animal like got it or something?
Yeah. So he's going to kill like the heads of the police department. So it's Terminator, basically. And Terminator had come out at that point, I think.
It might have.
I'm pretty sure it did.
They both came out in 84, so who knows?
Yeah, I'm going to check the date, because I'll be shocked if this isn't a rip-off. By the way, let's just put it out there. Terminator isn't entirely original.
No, yeah.
They got a
whole lawsuit about that.
Yeah, if you ever wonder, if you ever watch the first Terminator, it ends with, we would like to acknowledge the works of Robert Heinlein. I forget who it was. Yeah. The works of the guy's name. So this could just be ripping off whatever the Terminator ripped off. So yeah, he's figured out a way to transfer his conscience. The heads of the police department, they're like, you have to go, like, coincidentally, where he went, we all have ancestors there. The one guy's like, the old lady is like, my ancestor was a baseball player.
Yeah, he played for the Angels.
Yeah, the other guy runs a suntanning.
His name was Turbo. And I was like, he deserved to die. Dude's a fucking himbo.
Yeah. So they pull him in to a room. And again, a little bit of character developing.
Yeah.
Instead of just some exposition lady, it's someone he had previously dated. Jack Deth had previously dated. And she seems not to be too broken up about their breakup.
No, not at all.
No, so he's talking to her. He sees a Whistler on the table.
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to bring him back so he can stand trial. And then he just shoots him.
Oh, yeah. He fucking explodes the dude to death.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, his, and
they're like, well, that's kind of a problem now. Because now he has no reason to return. He'll just stay there.
Yeah. And just kill people.
Yeah. So they're like,
it's great, though. They're just like, hey, here's why you can't kill this guy. And he just kills him.
Kills him right away.
What are you going to do?
Effect, too.
Yeah, it was great. His body, like, explodes.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, you're going back in time. Now, here's the problem with this movie.
Oh, there's problems?
You're going to have problems with time travel. It's just going to happen in every movie. But the method of time travel, I like the putting your consciousness back. It's been done in Lost. It's been done. Quantum Leap kind of did it to an extent, but Days of Future Past.
Assassin's Creed, yeah.
The whole, like, putting your brain into your ancestors. Yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
But then they give him gadgets.
Yeah, the woman who he used to date is kind of his cue.
Yeah.
And there's like, here's a watch that can slow down time for 10 seconds. And
they don't explain what method behind that is. And then they give him a gun with antidote to bring him back to the future.
Yeah.
But how do those things also get sent back in
Watches
time
and guns also have consciousness. It's part of the quantum realm. You wouldn't understand
because all right, so they put him into the thing, they drug him and whatnot, they send him back, he goes into his ancestor while he's in the middle of shaving. And then the box just teleports next to him. And it's like, well, how did that why would you go into how the one version of time travel works and then not explain how this additional...
But I like that later on in the movie, they're like, oh my god, how'd that happen? And he's like, whatever.
He just ignores it. Yeah. It'd be fine if they just ignored all the time travel.
Exactly. Well, it's like in Looper, where he's like, I could explain it to you, but it's...
No, dude. Yeah. We don't talk about Rian Johnson movies because he ruined Star Wars.
Oh, he ruined Star Wars, but these were good Star Wars.
Yes. Well, first J.J. Abrams ruined it, but then Rian Johnson ruined it. And it's actually all Kathleen Kennedy.
So we all like George Lucas again?
Yes, he did nothing wrong, according to the internet.
Can we make that a hashtag? George Lucas did nothing wrong.
Anyway, so he wakes up in his ancestor's body.
Yeah.
And like apparently his ancestor was having a one-night stand with
Helen Hunt. Academy Award winner. Helen Hunt,
who is in 3 of these movies. I think the third one, it's a special appearance. But I think she's in 3 of these movies.
And this was before, like, she went on to be, like, she was a big star. Like,
people were mad
about you. Yeah. She's in the movie Twister. That movie always bugged me because the movie Twister is nothing like the game Twister.
Yes.
No one ever right-hand reads in a movie about tornadoes. I don't think
it's necessarily an adaptation of it.
All right.
Are you just finding this out close to 30 years
Between that and Star Wars, I'm learning so much tonight.
Anyway, wait till I tell you who really won the election. Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
So she has to go to work.
Mm-hmm. And she's a Santa's helper in the mall.
Yes, but the guy's like, where is Calahuga Boulevard? She's like, Coanga Boulevard?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it freaks her out because she says later, she's like, yesterday you said you grew up in LA.
And you know everything about LA.
Yeah, and now you don't know anything. And so they get to the mall. Mm-hmm. Helen Hunt is going to take her pictures, and Jack Deth is like, I need you to help me. I gotta get here and get there, and you gotta show me around, lady. For some reason, he's really just, why her? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Just walk around, call information. I don't know.
I also like that, I want to believe now that all Santa's helpers in the mall wear sexy leotards underneath of their outfits.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we skipped that. So he puts, like, gel in his hair.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't think it's actually
It was
gel.
suntan lotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
To wet his hair. Mm-hmm. And she's like, why'd you do that? He's like, only squids have dry
hair is for squids.
So squids are people who can be trance.
Yes.
Who have weak minds, but they never explain how do you have who counts?
And they say later she has a strong mind, but as we learn more about her character, I'm like,
not the strongest. But you know who does have a weak mind? Santa Claus.
Santa Claus has a really fucking weak mind. They put a kid on his lap.
Yes, and the kid's like, I want every 80s thing that's ever popular.
Yeah, exactly. And then fucking Santa turns into a zombie.
Yes.
And I love that the lady grabs the phone and she's like, we got problems at the North Pole.
It does have some self-aware comedy like that. Like, he's fighting him with a candy cane.
He takes the antlers.
Yeah, which aren't reindeer antlers, by the way.
Sticks them to the wall.
But my only issue with that is because he had to take off the beard to reveal the makeup, but I kind of wish he was just in the Santa beard the whole time.
And I said, you know what these kids are getting for Christmas? Traumatized.
Hey, Mom, they shot Santa Claus.
The Santa's like, welcome to 1984.
Yeah.
He's like, welcome to the 80s, and then he dies.
And then Whistler shows up.
Yeah.
He's like a detective. He's the head of the police now or something?
Whistler's ancestor is like higher up in the police department. I don't know if he's like a chief or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so, and it's Weisler or something.
Yeah. Well, they changed their name when they came to Ellis Island in the future.
Oh, okay. So as they're getting away, Jack Deth is driving the car. Okay.
It's fucking hilarious.
Okay. Is this an actor who doesn't know how... Because we saw him drive a car... Yeah. No. What you did was normal. He's like this.
But he's just, like, that's not how wheels work.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like a thing where, like, oh, is he not used to past cars? But his future car didn't look that...
Yeah.
Like, we never really got a good look on the inside to see if it's different.
But it's because the car was on a track, or was, like, on something, and they go do something, and he's just like...
But, like, we drive cars, and I've been in scenes where I have to pretend to be driving, and
you just do what you do like you would drive a normal car.
Don't do
this dude was like...
That's why I want to know if there was like a thing cut out where like his future car handled differently.
Oh, I think that everything they shot is in the movie. My experience with Charles Band movies, it's all in the movie.
Yeah, so then we have it here. Helen Hunt has a strong mind, I guess.
Yeah.
Jack goes to find the first ancestor to the other guy from the police department. He's at the suntanning place, Turbo. And he gets in there and, oh no, he's tranced! And they get into a fight. And the trancer, instead of just killing Jack, sorry, we have customers waving from outside. I told them, I locked up the store and said, we have to talk about Trancers. I can't sell you The Bear on VHS today.
That was my Danny DeVito-a-thon.
Yeah, don't rent The Bear. That tape has mold on it. If you ever come there. Anyway,
so instead of shooting Jack Deth.
So instead of shooting Jack Deth and just, ending
the movie.
The trancer who's
Turbo.
under Whistler's control. By the way, they're sometimes just influenced by him, sometimes actually controlled. It's unclear. He puts Jack Deth in the most futuristic tanning booth. Now, Newt, you were in the 80s longer than I was.
Yeah.
Did you ever see a tanning booth that looked like that?
No, it looked like something that Lando Calrissian would have had in Empire Strikes Back.
You know what it looked like? It looked like a Star Trek prop. Speaking of which, the orange tube Star Trek prop is all throughout this movie. Yep. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google orange tube Star Trek prop.
It pops up in a lot of Fred Olen Ray movies, Charles Band movies.
It's in The Last Starfighter.
Jim Wynorski used it because last November I was out at Paramount and they have a thing there where you could just rent props for movies. And they were like, and all these guys were loading up this stuff into these big vans. I was like, oh my God, I know that prop. And Fred Olen Ray was like, oh yeah, because we went out to hang with him and he was like, oh yeah, you could just get this shit. And I'm just like,
we gotta rent the orange tube.
I think we should for this for just one day for talking about tapes. We just have the orange tube and we're talking over it.
Anyway, he puts him in the most futuristic goddamn tanning booth I've ever seen. Instead of just shooting him. And also, the tanning booth is Newt was only in the 80s for 3 months.
Yeah.
Were tanning booths not regulated as well as they are?
Well, Tony, it was the Reagan era.
Okay.
And there was a lot of cocaine.
Okay.
So, I've actually never been in a tanning bed in my entire life because the fucking, what was that? The Final Destination movie? Freaked me out and gave me like a weird thing.
So Helen Hunt goes to save him. She finds out the Trancers committed suicide.
Yes, but how is Helen Hunt dressed in this scene?
All right, trigger warning for our viewers, because we're being accused of being too liberal whenever Newt's on an episode. So trigger warning: Helen Hunt is wearing a Confederate flag
on a denim jacket.
Mm-hmm. Cancel Helen Hunt. She knows what she did. I Googled, did Helen Hunt ever apologize for her jacket in Trancers? And nothing came up.
Because Helen Hunt doesn't remember that she was in Trancers.
But, no, the Confederate flag is wrong. And Governor Cuomo actually passed a bill to ban the Confederate flag.
But doesn't that go against your, right to free speech?
Newt, next you're going to say it was a bad idea to force retirement homes to take COVID patients, which killed 5,000 people. You're going to say that was a bad thing he did.
Tony, I'm still stuck on the fact that people like the Star Wars prequel.
Newt. So cancel Helen Hunt.
that was quite the distance to go between those two things.
Dude, I haven't had a good month and I'm very angry at a lot of people. Cancel Helen Hunt right now.
You seem mad about everything.
By the way, I'm just kidding about Governor Cuomo. Just kidding. Ha ha ha. Laugh. Ha ha ha. We're just kidding. We're just kidding. Never forget. So Whistler shows up while they're escaping.
Yeah.
And he goes to shoot them. And Jack uses the long second.
X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yes.
X-Men Apocalypse and Justice League all use this scene as well.
Yes.
Where time slows down so one person's moving faster.
Yes. And again, this might have come from some sci-fi novel that we never read.
Yeah.
Story.
I never learned how to read.
Yes. So he's doing this, but we get to see a bullet moving in bullet time, much like the Matrix. It doesn't have the ripple. They couldn't do the ripple yet.
Yeah. I thought that came from Bulletproof Monk. Remember that movie?
Yes. So Jack Deth picks up Helen Hunt and then runs past Whistler and then stares at him.
When he could have just turned the bullet around and then blown Whistler.
Well, not even that. Because even Helen Hunt says, she asks what happened. He's like, it's the long second. She's like, well, why didn't you stop Whistler? He's like, if I stopped him, I couldn't have saved you. And it's like, that's not at all what happened. You could have pulled out your gun while you carried her. Or shot him while you were running away. Hey,
Helen Hunt and the War of Northern Aggression jacket.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're collateral damage. You're no one in the future.
Exactly.
I got a mission to do. Yeah,
there's nothing that says that's his mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Not mother,
well, that would be really not really. Because,
they never say who his ancestor, on the mom's side. Yeah, so that's
she's
stupid.
Just fucking Helen Hunt in a Confederate jacket.
Yeah. Just be clear, you want to kill Helen Hunt in a Confederate jacket?
I mean, I don't want to.
Okay.
Because I think that Helen Hunt is legally adorable in this movie. With her little blue streak.
Okay, well, I didn't realize you liked Nazis. Moving on.
And Lena is also the name of a porn star that I like. So.
So yeah, they go back to her place, and she gets food for him.
Well, no, they go to... They need some place to go. They know who she is. She's like, oh, my friend is away, so we'll go to her place in Chinatown.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just her place.
No, it's her friend in Chinatown. Because she's like, oh, my friend has such ugly clothes. Like, everyone in this movie dresses like a fucking horse's ass.
Yeah, I don't think anyone, even in the future, they're not trying. The only guy who dresses good is Jack Deth when he's ripping off Harrison Ford.
Yeah, exactly. But her friend's apartment looks like the lobby of the Trocadero.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Trocadero.
So he's watching some detective movie.
Yeah.
And he's like making fun of the dude's name in the movie, the detective. And she's like, what kind of name is Jack Deth? And I was like, oh, this is great. So she brings back Chinese food.
Yeah.
And he's like, they have beef in the
like from a cow? Yeah. And then she like plays a prank on him.
Mm-hmm. Which I liked. They have really good chemistry together. Yeah. And I think that it's written self-aware enough that his super important detective guy works well with her because she takes the piss out of it. So so there's a
yeah, but it's kind of weird that she's like, oh no, I got a fortune cookie, it's from Whistler.
And he's like, what did he say?
I'm like, okay, so you think Whistler brainwashed a guy who puts the paper in the fortune?
What if he just brainwashed the fortune cookie? Since everything, guns and watches have consciousness, that now every time I open a fortune cookie, I'm going to make it scream.
So she also gets him like a radio for police scan, like a police scanner radio. And then he's like, what is that noise? She's like, oh, we live above a club. And he's like, oh, a club? And she's like, we should go dancing. It's like, there's a lot of important shit going on right now.
Maybe you're not grasping this. I almost just let you get your head blown off. You're welcome.
But he's like, all right, I guess I'll go to the club. And it's a punk club in Chinatown. Possible.
To be fair, when we went to Tucson for the Tucson Comic-Con, we stayed at the hotel where John Dillinger was killed.
Oh!
And we, Crystal and I, our room was directly above a club, and it was a metal club, and I put my phone on the dresser while I was doing something, and my phone was like, and I was like, oh, this isn't good.
So she's like, let's go dance. And he's like, it's not really a dancing time.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, bring your police scanner. So he goes down there with the thing, and the punk band is playing
Jingle Bells.
But I don't think, here's the thing, I don't think they're actually singing Jingle Bells.
No, I think they added that after the fact.
But I like that Jack actually starts dancing.
Yeah.
Because you think he'd be the grizzled detective, and he's like, all right,
I kind of like this, yeah.
I guess so. And it kind of reminds me of that great film Cruising with Al Pacino. When he starts dancing, he hesitates into it first, and he gets real into it.
Lips or hips, Tony?
Check out Cruising.
I actually like Cruising. That was William Friedkin.
We should do... It might be too problematic.
I don't think you and I would be the right people to do Cruising, but, you know.
Look, we're going to find some leather daddies, and we're going to bring them in as guests. We're going to do Cruising.
Oh, my God. Let's just reach out on social media and it's like, if you're a leather daddy and you'd like to be on Talking About Tapes.
I would do it right now. Any leather daddies want to be on Talking About Tapes, we need to talk about Cruising. So Jack Deth is dancing, and then, like, Lena's ex-boyfriend or just some guy she knew is like, why didn't you ever call me back? You have my tapes. And she's like, I'll drop the tapes off at your
mom's house, which I thought was fucking great. He looked like the bully from King of the Hill. He's like, hey, booby.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, then he's like, you're dating an old man. He's even got a hearing aid.
He's got the radio in his ear.
And then Jack Deth beats the shit out of him.
And then beats up dudes who, like, just learned what mohawks were that day.
Yeah, it is the most 80s punk thing you've ever seen. Like Bill Paxton and his friends in Terminator dialed up to like 11.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But what I like is the music stops, but the band is still singing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yup. I thought it was like a more upscale version of Club Scum from Hobgoblins.
So then they go back upstairs, and Helen Hunt's like, "I got you a present."
What is this?
Future man, just like you.
When did she do that?
When did she do that? So she got him like a robot.
One of those like the one that's in like Poltergeist 2.
Yeah, and it's like, and he's like, it's Future Man, like you. And it's like, when did she get that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe when she was going to get the Chinese food, she just so happened to stop by,
It's possible. But I love this. Jack's partner shows up, Art LaFleur, but in his ancestor
is a little kid.
It's like a 10-year-old girl.
But okay,
still in like the nightgown and slippers.
But that doesn't make sense because she's like, I had to wait for the parents to go asleep.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just go
into the dad, And then he's like, he threatens
one line in dialogue fixes that.
Yeah.
Foster parents.
Exactly. But then he threatens to spank his boss as a child.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like, the actress is good because she's acting like him. She's like, listen, Jack, you need to get back.
Who's the skirt?
But I like the idea that he traveled into the ancestor and didn't think to put on street clothes and just clothes for going outdoors. Yeah. She's like, well, I need to leave the house and somehow figure out where China, because the whole thing, Jack Deth doesn't know where anything is.
No.
And then Art LaFleur just knows to go there.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess maybe they're scanning his brain or something. I don't know. But wait, if they can scan your brain and know where you are, why didn't they just... Did they do that with Whistler?
No.
Well, they knew he went into someone's body.
Yeah, but they didn't know where he was.
I guess maybe they did know where he was, but it was...
I don't think this is the kind of movie that where you go... It's this. We've filled in every crack.
Here's the thing: you can't just attack Whistler head on.
No,
he's got like a whole army. So maybe they did. I'll give them that. Maybe they know how to track people, but you can't just go and get Whistler. They just couldn't get the other people.
Yeah, because
technically, if they all got in the brain machines, just went into their ancestors, they all could have just teamed up.
Exactly. See, we're punching holes in what I thought was an otherwise perfect film.
I thought this was going to be a short review, but it's really not going to be.
Once you start pulling the threads, it all starts coming apart. But it's entertaining as fuck.
Yeah. So, okay, another issue. They talk about how you need the antidote to go back to the future.
Yeah.
But then he's like, the one guy died, they need to talk to you. And then he shoots Jack.
Jack and Lena are about to get sex on.
Yes.
And just as that's like starting, the little kid comes up from behind the headboard, which is creepy as fuck. Because what if he just waited a little bit and he's like,
yeah. And then he
zaps him with a laser gun, and then Jack wakes up in the future.
What is this laser gun?
And his boss is there, wakes up too. So now I'm thinking about Lena in the past, like
Lena's but okay, so
the other dude woke up and he was just ready to fuck.
Okay, yeah. So because Lena asked, she's like, "Hey, what happened to Phil?" And he's like, "Oh, his brain's on hold." She's like, "Good, because I like you more," which I thought was mean.
Weird, yeah.
But yeah, so that means that guy is conscious for a second. And that also means there's a little girl in the room.
Yeah, and it's like, who
are
these people? Is that Helen Hunt?
So yeah, they bring him back with this gun that zaps you and wakes you up, and it's like, why doesn't he just use the zapping gun on the other guy?
Again.
What was the whole point of the antidote? Like, another pass on the script would have really fine-tuned this. So they're like, yeah, you gotta go back, and then they were like, because they said you could only use the long second once. And he goes, can I get a refill? And she's like, oh, sure.
Yeah, sure, why not?
What the fuck?
Rules don't fucking matter. It's Los Angeles.
It's just, you're almost there, movie. You gotta figure out.
Work with me, movie.
So they send him back.
Yeah.
And I only bring this up because this is going to be a problem at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So our heroes get on their motor scooters.
Yes.
And they start asking where...
well, first, they're like, so he comes back after they've already fucked. All right.
Yes.
And she was like, that was too much. So the other dude time travel cucking.
Yeah. Yes.
But then they go out and they're like, we got to go to this address. And she's like, oh, we're out of money. So she hotwires motor scooters.
Yes.
And he's like, where'd you learn to do that? And she goes, I used to pal around with bikers when I was 15. That opens a lot of questions.
Yes.
Okay? So I'm assuming there's a whole sad chapter of Lena's life that we don't want to get into that may explain the Confederate flag jacket.
Yes. Maybe. You know what? Maybe it's...
She was running drugs, like, you know how like the
uncancel Helen Hunt.
Uncancel Helen Hunt.
I bet you the patriarchy made her do that.
Or the pagans, like when they get to the Amish kids during Rumspringa and have them run meth for them. Like, I'm really excited for the Trancers prequel.
So they get on their scooters.
They get on their motor
They're
scooters.
matching scooters.
Yes, which is nice. Little Vespas.
And they're looking for Hap Ashby. Mm-hmm. And I love that name, Hap
I do,
Ashby.
yeah. It's a very, like, it would have been a dude who would have played baseball in the 60s.
And so he is a baseball player who is no longer, he's like a homeless guy
Yeah.
now. And they go to talk to 3 homeless men.
Who are the 3 wise men.
Because they're singing We Three Kings.
And he tells her that...
By the way, there's not a lot of other Christmas stuff like that in this.
No.
Like, maybe if they were looking for a baby in the past. Because then the 3 Kings thing would have made
Baby Detective.
Yes.
Baby Detective meets Mummy Cop is our new animated series coming in 2021 to Hack the Movies. How are we paying for that?
Well, apparently Disney's just giving money to anyone.
Shit, we're gonna say that. Oh, that baby was in the background of the cantina.
Yeah, that's
Money, please. So they tell her that she's the angel of Christmas.
Yeah, it doesn't make it. There's this chunk of the movie here feels like, oh no, our movie's too short.
Yeah, what do? We got to get from here to here. They give him a Zagnut bar and they give him information.
Yeah.
Perfect. Go with it.
So then they go to like an abandoned.
It's like a cereal factory.
Paper mill.
Paper mill.
I think it was a paper mill.
Okay.
They go to an abandoned paper mill. They're looking for Hap Ashby. Mm-hmm. But then Trancer cops show up. But, like, they're still themselves, but they're... Like, Whistler's brain is not in them. Mm-hmm. These versions, they're like, oh, you're going to go to Whistler. Whistler told us all about you. Mm-hmm. And at one point, he's like, you can fight it. It's like, can he? Because you've been saying this whole movie that weak-brained people can't.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Helen Hunt kills...
cops weak-brained?
The movie is. I'm not. My dad's a cop.
Cancel Charles Band.
Cancel Charles Band. My dad was a cop. Not a cop now. We were worried if my dad was still a cop at age 60-something. So Helen Hunt kills the Trancer, and he's like, he was dead the moment he became a Trancer. And it's like, well, what was this bullshit you can fight it thing you were giving him? What the hell was that shit?
The screenwriter was like, what?
Yeah. And then we find Hap Ashby, and he's playing a baseball.
Homeless baseball.
Which goes on for a long time.
Hobo baseball.
Because I don't think the movie was long enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, they sat down, they're like, oh shit, a lot of these scenes are pretty short. We
better add some tramps playing the American pastime.
Yes. At night in an abandoned paper mill.
And they're throwing like fucking like garbage at him.
I don't know. But yeah, they're like, Hap Ashby, you gotta come. And then Whistler shows up with more Trancer cops.
And the homeless give up Hap Ashley like a motherfucker.
Yes,
they're
then like the Trancers just start opening fire on the homeless.
Oh my god.
They put Hap Ashby on the back of the one scooter. We get the exciting motor scooter chase.
Mm-hmm. There's some bad motor scooters.
Here's the thing. I don't think motor scooters go that fast.
No.
So you're seeing slow motor scooters, and then the cop cars chasing them are having to go slow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Batman 89, where the Batmobile couldn't actually go that fast.
No, exactly.
So, like, there's a couple scenes in Batman 89 where, like, oh, they shouldn't have done a wide shot because you see how slow the Batmobile...
or like Space Mutiny, those little carts they're in. Or I think of like the Simpsons episode where they go to the racetrack and Mr. Burns is like, tell them to slow down.
So the scooters are going slow and the cops are going also slow. So they're like splitting up. And I do like the one part where she's like, how are you going to get back to the place? You don't know Chinatown. He's like, yeah, I used to swim here all the time. I do like that callback to being a diver. But yeah, there's one part, because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
An old man decorating his tree. And then Helen Hunt scoots through the window.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't think he could pull that much speed. It's like, maybe now. It didn't look like the scooter could go that fast. I feel like realistically, she would have just slapped onto the window.
Imagine being the person inside and it's like, fucking Helen Hunt.
And I don't even think it would get enough lift to get into the window. But anyway, she crashes into the window, and I've seen this scene a million times in other movies, and it's like, oh, okay. And she just leaves.
Yeah.
Hap Ashby, when they're trying to escape, Jack Deth is like, I gotta use the long second. Oh no, my watch is gone.
Yeah.
I must have dropped it. Or no, he thought he lost it. Helen Hunt gave it back to him, but then it's gone again.
Yeah.
So they gotta
They probably forgot the prop that day.
They gotta scoot down the stairs. No, there's a reason. But when they're scooting down the stairs, Jack Deth's stunt double looks nothing like him.
And I hit pause on the thing, and I'm sitting in my kitchen. I went,
Yeah. Then they get back to the place and they're trying to get like Hap Ashby stole his watch.
Yeah, yep.
And he has a bunch of watches. They're trying to like sober him up. He's like, look, you gotta get sober. You gotta have a kid. That kid's ancestor's or descendant's gonna be the best person in the world. But then he's like talking to like Helen Hunt. He's like, my wife, I made her trancer bait. Which sounds wrong.
Sounds hot.
It's like I made her trancer bait and she died. And then she's like, do you love me, Jack? And he's like, yes. It's like, you've known her a day. A day.
To be fair, Tony, I've met a woman in my life that I fell in love with the first time I met her.
How'd that work out?
Not too well.
So yeah, he's in love with Helen Hunt, I guess.
Who wouldn't be?
Yes, and then Whistler grabs Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
Because he like calls Whistler and he's like, I'm gonna give him up. I'm tired of this, but it's like a trap.
Yeah.
So Whistler grabs Helen Hunt, and this movie is smart enough to rip off future Terminator movies.
Yes, exactly.
Because he says scream for Jack, and then in Terminator 2, like he gets Linda Hamilton, and he's like, call for John.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Or the thing that all of them are ripping off.
We'll have to look into that.
Because remember, Terminator is not entirely original. There's a whole lawsuit about it.
Or is The Matrix, or is Star Wars, or
yeah.
Or is this show?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The show is entirely original. I came up with the idea of two people on a set talking about movies. Two or more people. I did it.
You have to travel back in time and create the first review show.
Here, you know what? I'll come up with something original right now. At the end of these reviews, whether they're good or bad, we'll give them a thumbs up or thumbs down. I just invented that.
That makes sense. I like that.
Okay. It's original. I'm nothing but original. So yeah, they're fighting Whistler, and Whistler throws Helen Hunt off the roof.
Yeah.
Jack uses the long second. It's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And he like puts his jacket over it. By the way, he's an older guy.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't look like he should be doing all this action stuff.
And he did it for a long time. He was in those fucking Doll Man movies.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, did he just age poorly? Was he younger than I thought? I don't know. So I'm aging poorly, so I can relate.
Me too.
So he swings down, and then he catches her, and then Hap Ashby, who I feel like you can trance him.
Yeah.
His mind doesn't seem to be the strongest. Why does he never get tranced? He's like, I'm a baseball guy.
And he throws like a bottle or something.
Throws stuff at Whistler. Whistler's like, oh no! And he falls into the fountain.
I would travel back in time and kill Abner Doubleday, so baseball is never created.
So then Jack is like, I'm gonna hit you with the antidote. He's like, oh no, I only have one left. So he hits Whistler with it.
Yep.
Because the thing is, like, it sends you back, but he's like, you're going up the ladder with no stop in sight or something like that.
Up the line.
Up the line.
Up the line and down the line.
Yeah, because he has no ancestor, so his conscience just...
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we have not seen Trancers 2 through 6, so I don't know
what
I'm
very excited.
I feel like... I looked at some of the covers and stuff and the plot synopsis, and I'm like, holy shit, this series got weird. So then Jack Deth is there, and she's like, Jack, you can't go back. You're stuck forever. And it's like, no, he's not. And he's like, yeah, I guess I'm stuck here. I'm like, wait, what? Because they can send you things.
Yes.
And they can just unplug you.
Send me another fucking antidote, motherfucker.
But no, they don't even need the antidote. They send little girls shooting with the zapping gun, or just unplug. Like,
and then Helen Hunt would just wake up and whoever her descendant is in like another place.
They're trying to do the tragic he can never return ending, but it doesn't work because you've shown us multiple ways he can come back.
But it's like he could Biff Tannen it now. He's like, oh, I know so much shit about the future.
I guess, and it's a very bizarre ending. Like, it doesn't work.
Again, when you start to pull the threads and it all starts to fall apart, and they're holding desperately. We got to end it somehow. Good enough. We ran out of film in the camera. That's the end of the movie.
And it's kind of a mean ending because
little bit.
He robs his ancestor of a whole life.
Yeah, but then his wife wouldn't die.
Is that true? I don't know.
Just saying.
Because he didn't, like, Whistler's ancestor, if anything, he should kill Whistler's ancestor. That'd be mean, but still. Yeah, so this movie,
I liked it.
I really enjoyed
I enjoyed it a lot. As if it just as a B movie, it has a lot of problems.
Yeah, I feel like
but it holds together enough to be fun. It's got likable leads.
Yes.
It's got some fun set pieces.
It's a little self-aware, which helps.
Exactly.
But I feel like if they just fine-tuned it a little bit, the script, you might have had another Terminator on your hand. Where it's like, you look back at that and you're like...
But they made 6 fucking sequels, so they're fine. They're like, we're good.
6.5.
6.5.
They made a short film that was part of a Charles Band anthology film, which never got released until like recently.
I saw that on IMDb.
Yes. So there's 5.5 sequels to this. I think it's ripe for a reboot. I'm ready for them to reboot this.
Me too. You know what I just
Trancers
realized?
2049.
You know what I just realized? Oh my god.
Which,
that would
by
be
the way, I
amazing.
think in the future it's actually afterwards, but whatever.
They bring the director of Blade Runner 2049 in to do it, and it's all fucking like... I just realized, though, this entire episode with all the cuts, you should have just kept changing your eye patch from side to side.
No, dude, this isn't like a gag. I need this. So
I know
I'm
do.
trying to focus
but
on
I'm trying...
you.
Don't. It's not worth
Like,
it.
here.
Oh my god! Ah!
I cannot see you. You have like 4 eyes in like a circle. Anyway, check out Trancers. It's a pretty good movie.
It's on Tubi, and when you're done
It's
watching
on
that,
Tubi.
watch Swamp.
You know what you
Zombies
can
2.
watch it on? The Full Moon streaming service, which Facebook gives me advertisements
all
for.
the time, yeah.
And it's like, no offense to Full Moon, I love the movies, but like so many of their movies are on Amazon Prime and other stuff. Why would you pay for the Full Moon streaming?
I think I still have a lot of the VHS. I know I definitely have the Puppet Master action
Puppet
figure.
Master 5.
Oh my god. I saw the new one, the like comedy one. Wasn't bad.
I feel like there's a new one every year.
I know. Well,
they did one with like bigger actors.
Yeah, the Thomas Lennon one. I saw that one.
Okay, but I think there's been like 2 since
really?
then. Yeah, I'd say check it out. I'm excited to dive into the sequel. We gotta do more Full Moon pictures.
I
in
think
general.
so too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole world there we can explore.
What's it? A Ouija? Like it's Ouija board? You know. Killer Bong.
Yeah.
Although, you know what's a great Charles Band movie?
What?
Sorority Babes in a Slimeball Bowl-orama. That movie's fucking awesome.
I won that movie in a contest.
Really?
And then I never got around to watching it, and then I watched it on Joe Bob. And then I was like, wait, I own that movie.
It's
and
a lot of fun.
I'm like, that's right, I won this in a contest. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Leanna Quigley as Spider and Michelle Bauer. I'm a big fan of that movie.
That's another one we gotta do.
Yep.
But yeah, so check out Trancers. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah.
And Happy Kwanzaa.
Joyous Kwanzaa. And
if you worship the devil... Happy birthday, Damien. I don't know.
I don't think he was born. I don't know when he was born. Let's get excited for the new year, Newt. Let's think of some New Year's movies. Well, there's End of Days. Oh wait, we already
did that one already.
What's another New Year's Eve movie that we could do that would fit our demographic?
I have a really good idea about a New Year's movie we can do.
Okay.
Ghostbusters 2.
You mean that movie everyone hated and then decided it was good years later, much like the Star Wars prequels?
It all comes full circle!
We're gonna do Ghostbusters 2 next week! Spoiler! It sucks!